Hello and welcome to week 6. This week I want to start going over the first pieces of Project 2, which is on student-centered partnerships. Several of you have already completed Project 1 and you're ready to move on. So I wanted to start with the project overview. And in the project overview it does tell you that there are 3 different parts to Project 2. The first one is going to be a lesson plan for collaboration that will allow you and your students and their respective support systems to collaborate on assignments for your class. The second part is going to be a colleague interview report, and the third part is going to be partnership agreement for success. So just like with Project 1, over the next few weeks, I want to break each of those pieces apart and go through some of what you will be working on. In the project scenario, you can get a better idea of what this project is centered around if you read that information in that section, and then you have some directions. So this week we're going to focus just on part 1, and it says in part 1 you will create a lesson plan with synchronous and asynchronous. So you're going to have both opportunities for you and your students to collaborate. You're going to use the lesson plan for collaboration template in the supporting materials section to create your lesson plan. So if I scroll down to that section for part 1, you will see that there are 2 sections. One is section A, and it is about creating a visible plan, creating a viable plan for a live synchronous lesson that addresses a specific topic or subject area and allows students to collaborate with each other and with you. So you have some information that you do have to provide, and on that list of information is the tool or materials that will be needed, and so you have to do a couple things here. The first is that you have to state the video conferencing tool that you will be using. There are a few options out there, and each of those options have different pieces that go along with them. So you have Zoom, which allows for breakout rooms. So if you want to work in small groups synchronously, then that's an option there. You also have other options like Google Hangouts, GoToMeeting, and depending on free license versus paid license, some of those have additional built-in features like polling and so forth. So you want to spend some time researching video conferencing tools there, and you'll have to put some of that information in your project. You also want to list, as it says, any other additional materials or tools that you will use during the lesson plan, whether it's you using the tools or the student. So if they're creating a presentation, are they going to use PowerPoint, Google Slides, and so forth? And we'll talk more about that in just a minute. When you write all of this information out on this bulleted list, the grade level and so forth, you do want to make sure that all that information is based on the template, and you want to, of course, being a master's program, write incomplete sentences. When it gets down to section B, you are going to create a viable plan for a collaborative student project that addresses the same specific topic or subject area. It doesn't say it specifically in the section B title, but this is the part of the project that is asynchronous. If you go down to the last bullet point at the bottom where it says directions for students, it says offer suggestions for how students can collaborate synchronously and asynchronously as they work on the project. So there may be pieces of the second one that are going to be synchronous, but a majority of the group project is going to be something that they'll be doing on their own time along the way. And so there are other pieces that you need, like learning objectives for the project and evidence they are attained. So you will write measurable learning objectives, and then you'll have to also describe how you will determine if those learning objectives were met. So that's part of that first bullet point there. And then again, tools for collaborating students will use to facilitate the collaboration. You have some different options here again. I will kind of in this section tell you that when you're trying to decide tools for this piece, you'll want to use or look for something that is available on almost every platform, so you don't have to worry about what device each student has. So something like Google Docs and Google Slides would be good to go with, because they can work together synchronously or asynchronously on the document or presentation. They can add comments back and forth, and it doesn't matter what device they have. You'll also want to remember as you write all of this out, a lot of this is going to be of you talking about things that you've either done or you will do based on your previous experiences, but you still want to tie the stuff to research as you work on the project. And so in section B, where it talks about dividing students into groups for the project and that directions for students area, it says describe a strategy of how you will break students into project teams, considering groups that will allow students to support and learn from each other. When you talk about that piece, you have to tie that back to the research. You can't just say, well, I'm going to choose this way to place them in groups because this is why I feel it works best. You want to tie that decision back to the research. What does research say about grouping students the way you've chosen? And basically, you want to read the research first, and that's how you decide how you want to break them into groups. But you will put all of that together, and that will be part one of project one. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via phone or email at any point in time. Thank you, and I hope you all have a good week.